Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. I'm going to do some little change up this time. This is take 2. I had technical problems, so I have to do the whole thing over again. I'm going to step outside the bounds of mainstream comics. I've done that a little bit before with touching on some of a little bit of the underground comics, and I intend doing more too. This time I want to talk a little bit about small press and mini comics. I've got a decent collection of mini comics from various creators, and I want to talk a little bit about some of that right now. So, for those who may not know what mini comics and small press are, they're just that. Small press is very small publishers. Do small print runs of mostly undersized comics, mini comics, or entirely self-published and self-distributed mini comics, mostly locally, but some do get distributed around the country, a lot online, through the mail, and stuff like that. Some of these creators are local. A lot of the ones that I've got are local, and I get them at conventions or at local comic and bookstores. And let's start off right here with this one right here, Mutant Rabbit. Now, this is actually different because this is published by the Denver Public Library, and even has Comics Code on it. Even though the Comics Code is defunct, they put the Comics Code Authority emblem on there. It says diverse stories in the world of comics by Denver area teens. You can see on the back cover here. This looks like designs for bookmarks, and this is from 2016. The Denver Public Library has various summer programs for students. They have a art and graphic novel workshops for high school and younger kids, and then some of that stuff was published in this book, and I think it's a great outlet for kids, something for them to get enthused about. This is all the artwork was done by the kids. This is something that they designed too. And you can see here this understandably the artwork is unschooled and crude. This is probably 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, somewhere in there, having their stab at, and it's good for them to be learning, and for the age, this is probably relative admirable work for their age. Yeah, varying degrees of quality. And that's okay. This is great for the kids. Gives them some bragging rights. And then when it's published like this, gives them copies to keep for themselves, and or give to friends or distribute to family members. And that's great. Gives them some bragging rights. Something to feel good, for them to feel good about themselves. And hopefully they will start participate in this kind of stuff later on. See here, this one here is just on some notebook paper. And here's some from a painting workshop. That one's pretty nice. So this is, I think that's some really great stuff. Now here is a mini comic. And this well, is probably the most beautiful mini comic you will ever see. This is The Fishwife by Melanie Gillman. This was a 24-hour comic, which means that Melanie produced the entire contents of this in 24 hours. Now, Melanie's works in colored pencil, and they produce just some beautiful results with her with the colored pencils. And this is just a light little thing called The Fishwife. It's a recounting a story from I think it's Celtic legend. I'm not sure, and kind of fits in with Melanie's last name of Gillman. And it's about a fish woman, a gill person, and it's very beautiful. And you can't say enough about this. And this is from about 2016, 2017, something like that. And then here, also by Melanie, is Smitten, parts 1 and 2. I'm not sure whether Melanie produced more on this, or if this is just the beginning, but of a longer work. But this, again, same kind of artwork, very, very beautiful colored pencils, and the expense to produce for the reproduction, because these are all full color and on nice quality paper. And this piece here was part of Melanie's master's thesis at from CU Boulder. Now, I want to show you this. It is, of course, saddle stitch, but it's not stapled. It is literally hand stitched with these little beads on here, and the whole thing is a beautiful piece of work. And I met Melanie at a convention, and we both participated in the Denver Drink and Draw, and I would see Melanie sitting there at the table visiting with people and work with her fistful of little colored pencil books, colored pencils, and her sketchbook, working on these projects. And Melanie just uses a limited palette, as having 6 or 7 individual colored pencils, and that's all that they would use for this wide variety of color in this work. So to give a limited and related color palette, so nothing looked jarringly different from one page to the next. Very consistent, and some beautiful work. Of course, hand lettered, beautiful hand lettering. And Melanie has been a lecturer at various locations, and from what I understand now, Melanie, got a graphic novel I want to review by Melanie, and that when that novel first came out, I, by sheer chance, came across an NPR interview with Melanie. Normally I would have missed it. I just happened to be having to go to physical therapy that day because I would have been at work. And this is chapter 1. It was a web comic that was being placed up on the web and then compiled. This is just the first chapter, and then later done as a full-length graphic novel. And then we have here's one by Carrie McNinch, an LA cartoonist, and she does this as a diary comic. Whenever she gets enough pages, she produces a book. I have a few others. This is the only one that I had handy at the time, and I'm behind. I need to contact her and get a fistful of more recent works because this is what are the dates on here? See, this is from 2012. Of course, it would have been produced probably 2013, and so this goes back quite a ways, and I've got a lot of catching up to do. And it's just a diary talking about the stuff she does, where she lives, her interaction with people, and a lot of stuff about her cat. Yeah. And then I want to finish up with this Colin Upton's collected new reality stories from 85 to 87. And this is from the mid-90s. Probably it says 94 down here so it's either 94 or 95 when it was published. And Colin Upton is a Canadian cartoonist in Vancouver, and this was reprinting some of his earlier works. And again, I'm behind. I have a whole big fistful. I'm going to cover him in more detail. And he also produced, because he did mini comics about this size, and some this size, and some full-sized regular comics. And I've got to get caught up on some of his stuff too, because it's been many years since I bought anything new from him. And you can see he is quite capable artist, cartoonist in his own right here. As you can see just on the cover, that is himself. He does a lot of autobiographical stuff, some historical stuff, and just some stuff with social commentary. A lot of stuff about people he comes across, especially like riding the bus. Look at this introduction he's got, all that. And while I was going through this, I looked at on YouTube, and he's got there's some interviews with him on YouTube, and he's got a YouTube channel, but the channel's not about comics. It's about tea, because he is a teetotaler, and he loves tea and drinks all kinds of tea. Well, I drink tea too, but the haters, just all kinds of things here. And you can see, and like I said, I'm going to have to cover him in more full detail with his mini comics at a later time. And that's what we've got this time. Just mini comics and small press works. And I've got a bunch more that we'll be covering later. And I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe this is your first introduction to the world of mini comics. If so, I hope you enjoyed it. If you know someone who would be interested in this kind of stuff, please share with them. So please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for joining me this time around. And remember, comics are art.